Shalom, men and brethren. This is Apostle David Gosson again on the Prophets sub-series of Talk on Prophecy 38. I believe you are having a wonderful time with this series. We were able to go through knowing whether or not we need a prophet. And after that, I began to deal with who a prophet is. And we are able to establish by the grace of God, the prophet is an ambassador of whomsoever he represents or she represents. Now, I want to continue on the prophets to try to explain the other kind of prophets, apart from the prophets of God. We have other prophets also who are not prophets of God, but they are prophets anyway. So not everybody that say I am a prophet or calls himself a prophet is a prophet of God. Of course, the person is a prophet, but it's not a prophet of God. Now, God was specific when he talked about his own prophets. In that order, I'm taking you to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 20. And it says, "But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die." There are two kinds of prophet other than the prophet of God. The presumptive prophets or presumptuous prophets are the prophet who speaks their own mind. They don't speak the mind of God. They don't hear from God. They are not instructed by God. They are ambassadors of their own selves. They represent their inner self. They represent their own mindsets to the people. This is one other kind of prophet. So they are prophets, of course, but they are prophets for themselves, by themselves. These are presumptuous people. They guess everything true. They prophesy presumptuously. They are not sent by God. God did not send them, did not give them a message. They came on their own with a message other than that which God has got for the people. Eventually they come to God's people when God never sent them to his people. They are prophets too, but they are not prophets of God. They are presumptuous prophets, giving presumptuous prophecy. They are prophets by themselves, not by God, from themselves, not from God. So they are not God's prophets. They are self-made prophets. They exist and they are among us. Then the other prophet will have the prophet that speaks in the name of other gods, or the prophet that speaks by other gods. The good example of it, the book of 1 Kings chapter 17 and chapter 18. The good example, the prophets of Baal. They were prophets, but they were prophets of another god, which is called Baal. They worship Baal. They can and they prophesy by Baal. They prophesy from Baal. They are prophets though, but prophets of Baal. They also have prophets of Asherah. All of these things are in that two chapters I gave you right now. 1 Kings 17, 1 Kings 18. So the prophets of other gods do exist. They exist, beloved, they exist. prophets of other gods. So these are two kind of prophets that God disapproved, but they had to exist. He said they shall die when they try to deceive the people. In other words, they are condemned. They are condemned to hell when they deceive the people. That's exactly what the Bible talks about, those kind of prophets. They exist. And they will always exist among us. But Jesus Christ has a name for them. And if you look at Matthew chapter 7. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus says something about those two kind of prophets combined together. You look at chapter 7, verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? In thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wondrous works? Then will I profess unto them, I never knew you, depart from me, you that work iniquity. Now, these people, this is talking about the presumptuous prophecy, or presumptive prophets, who give presumptuous prophecy. Though they give it in the name of God, but they are not sent by God. They are. Jesus said on that day, he will call them workers of iniquity. Because they're not representing him. They use his name to profit themselves, to represent themselves. They don't represent him. So he calls them the workers of iniquity. Ye that work iniquity. Not sent by God. Then they go about to represent God and never sent to represent him. Presumptuous prophecy, presumptive prophets. That's it exactly. Then if you go forward to St. Matthew chapter 24, Jesus says something again about the same people, which is very important. Verse 24, same Matthew 24, verse 24, same chapter, chapter 24, verse 24. So, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. False prophets. Now, those who speak in the name of other gods, those who speak in the name of God but never sent by God, representing their own interests and themselves, they are all false prophets. What they do is to present themselves to be who they are not. God never sent them, but they came to speak for him. They are ambassadors of themselves, or rather, fake ambassadors of God. The other ones are ambassadors of the gods they speak for. These ones are ambassadors for themselves, because they speak for themselves, not for God. They use the name of God to deceive God's people. Come on, fly. And the Bible said they will even show wonders. We have a couple of magicians. They will show wonders to an extent that the elect, God's children, might even be deceived by them when they are not supposed to be deceived. Beloved, that's exactly what is happening. That's exactly what is happening. So, Jesus knew of their coming, and he already told us about them. We have them. That's why I have problem when I see people prophesying when they're not sent. They don't know the danger of it. They're not of God. They're not from God. They're not by Him. They are made by themselves or made by other gods. Some people are deceiving themselves. They say they are going to go join cults, belong to secret society, and then come to do the work of ministry. They are among us. They will call them colleagues, but God knows the truth. What I will say to you today is, know this and know it well. That there are prophets of God and there are prophets by men and there are prophets by other gods, by the devil, demons, kingdom of darkness, but they all call prophets. But then all other ones combined together, the Bible calls them false prophets. That's who they are. Beloved, we keep trusting the Lord and keep depending on Him and keep moving forward. We shall now progress to delve into God's prophets of properly. The prophets of God will be dealing with them face by face. We shall see the different characteristics or classes of God's prophets. We'll see them, different kind of prophets of God with their various prophecies. We shall see them one by one. And after that, God will help us to understand quite a lot of things. And then we'll progress to another phase. When you get through the entire series, you must have gone to university. I love you. All stay in the love of God. Shalom. I want you to not to fail to share this video to friends, to colleagues, to contact lists, to every group you belong to. Share it and make it go viral. Help people who have been misled and who are going astray to call back themselves. You never know who will be blessed by this, who will be taught to change by this, whose souls will be won by this. This is why it's necessary you share, so that through it, God will be exalted, souls will be won, saved, and people will be educated and built up. I count on you to share it all around. Your love in Jesus' name. Lord, I bless our people today. Bless them. Let your glory rest upon their life. Let your power flow through them. Let your anointing rest upon them. Work in them wonders. Lift them up. Exalt your name in their life. Frustrate their enemies and establish them. And be magnified, I pray, in their life. In Jesus' precious, mighty name. Amen. You're blessed and it's well with you. We'll see you again tomorrow as we continue from where we stop. We're going to go deal with God's prophets proper. And we shall see different varieties and classes of God's prophets, even though it's God that sent them all. I love you. Shalom. Bye-bye. Tomorrow.